Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. Alright, if we were to judge board games based solely on their toy factor, then surely Dark World from Mattel in 1992 would rank as one of the all-time great board games. The production quality on this thing is quite simply stunning, especially for a mass market game in the early 90s. Once again, this was another attempt from another company to try to cash in and compete with the Hero Quest phenomenon, which, speaking of Hero Quest, I guess it's coming back in some form, coming back in POG form perhaps, from Avalon Hill soon. But yeah, Dark World was, I think, 1992 from Mattel, and it has the table presence. It has a table presence to die for. It is unbelievably well made in terms of components and the way it looks. Everything is super sturdy. I mean, even this big board or this big castle base that comes in multiple parts, there are even plastic pegs that you put in from underneath the game board to keep it from sliding around. It's quite amazing, really. The treasure chests open to reveal magical weapons inside. Even, I think, before Hero Clicks, we had hero minis with clickers that could keep track of your hit points. Although these are very, very stiff. I'm always afraid I'm going to break them when I'm turning. I don't think they work quite as well as Mattel was hoping. I always feel like I'm going to snap off either one or more of the pieces of the base or the mini. The weapons are removable, so each of the heroes starts off with a normal weapon, and then as they work their way through the one-way dungeon, they will find new weapons, and then they can arm themselves with magical golden weapons, which gives them a +1 d6 when attacking. In addition to that, there are doors that actually open and close, and they open and close quite well, much better than the doors in something like Advanced Hero Quest. There are secret passages that the heroes can find by rolling a certain number on the D10, and then they can move into another room, bypassing part of the dungeon. Over here you have a place for the gold coins, which are going to be given out as rewards. You have a place here for the bad guy player to keep the monsters that have not been put out on the board yet, like a secret little staging area. You have these cards here that hold the magical items, and when the bad guy puts out a minion, he or she is going to take one of those magic items and put that in the base there, showing that that enemy is holding that piece of loot for the heroes to take when the enemy is defeated. So on a production level, this game is just off the charts. It looks amazing. It does take a little bit to set up. But fortunately, I forgot the Mace of Chaos. Okay, this is going to show you who goes in what order each turn. So the players are each going to take what is called, I think it's a base camp. And here they're going to keep their gold and their hit and miss cards and their captured enemies. And each base camp has a color associated. And at the top of each turn, the bad guy is going to take this. He's going to shake up the Mace of Chaos, flip it over, and then that is going to show the turn order for that turn. So I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, everything about this game, the way it looks, the way it's set up, the table presence, the minis aren't the best, but for 1992 from Mattel, from a game that you could buy at KB Toys or Toys R Us, this thing is just off the charts in terms of how it looks. Even the box has really nice design to it. Of course, you got the same kids, different kids. I would have loved it if it had like the same boy and girl, brother and sister from Dungeon and Dragon Quest, which I recently took a look at. But yeah, everything about this game screams quality as far as components. Now, fortunately, or unfortunately is the case in this game, we judge games based on things in addition to their production quality. Something that maybe Kickstarter has maybe skewed a little bit in the recent recent years. But unfortunately, as a game, this does not come anywhere close to matching its production quality. Out of all of the HeroQuest wannabe, the mass market HeroQuest wannabes, such as Dragon Quest, Dungeon Strike, maybe Mutant Chronicles, Dragonfire. Well, I don't know. The Dungeons and Dragons board game, adventure board game. This is easily the worst of all of those in terms of actual gameplay. It's maybe has a little bit more going on than the classic Dungeon. It might have more going on than Dragonfire, but Dragonfire actually has like scenarios and quests and rules on how to create your own scenarios and quests. There are no scenarios, there are no quests in this. The bad guy is not going to get a book of quests like he or she would in HeroQuest to be able to lead his or her players on an epic campaign for loot and treasure and monster slaying. This is a very simple kind of head-to-head move and fight game where the heroes are going to be moving from point A to B. They're going to be starting in this starting room here, and they're going to be busting in doors, moving through a pretty linear maze here, unless they are able to use the secret door. They're going to be moving through room by room, pushing in, pushing through, eventually making their way to the doom step here, which will allow them to enter the courtyard, the arena here, make their way up the stairs to fight, what is that guy's name? Cobra. They're called like the Cobrans or something, the Cobrans. Yeah, the Cobran Nemesis Lord, Korak. So here's the flavor text for this game. In an age long past, legends tell of many great and bountiful lands in a remote uncharted area. These lands were known as Terra Nova. Here, different races live and work together in peace until, without warning, this peace was destroyed by a vast army pouring over their frontiers, spreading chaos and destruction in its wake. The Dark Legions were led by Korak, the Cobran Nemesis, Lord of Chaos and Master of Fear. So the heroes need to destroy Korak. They're going to be working somewhat together to make sure that happens, but they're also going to be competing by killing enemies, taking them as points, getting coins, which can be used as points, and also getting a hand of cards that can be used as points, as well as help them out in combat. And then the hero with the most points is going to win the game. And if all of the heroes are dead, then the bad guy wins. Combat is a very easy affair. When the heroes are armed with their basic weapons, they're going to roll 2 of these custom D6 here. Each sword counts as a hit, and that's going to do a point of damage. And each of the enemies, there are orcs, there are skeletons, there are mummies, ogres or trolls, I believe, and a manticore. Each one is going to have a cardboard base on the bottom of their plastic base, and that's going to tell them tell the player how many hit points they have. And each room, when the door is busted open, kicked open, each room has a number on it, and that signifies to the bad guy how many hit points worth of monsters they can put in that room. So if you were to go into this room, the bad guy could put 4, and so if they had these 2 left, let's say they could put either the 1 or the 4 in there. If they put the 4 in there, that's a pretty powerful orc, and one of the heroes was there, then that hero would have to roll at least 4 hits to kill the orc. And there he would not do it. However, at the beginning of the game, each hero is going to get a number of cards from hit and miss cards. These hit cards, these can be added to the die roll before revealing the total of the hit points of the monster. These can be added to add hits. When the monster fights back, the hero can use one of these miss cards to as basically a point of armor, because the monsters are going to do straight damage. So if the monster was attacking the hero there, he would have done 3 points of damage. But if that hero had one of these miss cards in their base camp, like so, they could use that to negate 1 point of armor. So as you can see, it's a pretty basic game, and that's really all there is to it. There's no exploration. There are no kind of, non-combat cards. There are no stat checks. There's really no gaining items except for the magic items. The magic items, you have potions, which can heal. You have grenades, and you have these magic boots that will give you more movement. So there's not a lot going on. The layout of the dungeon is going to be the same every single time. It really is a pretty straightforward and basic and somewhat dull game when you get past the wow factor of it being just just the way it looks. I mean, every time I set this up, I always forget how awesome this game looks. The bad guy does have a manticore, which he or she can use as a kind of a mini boss. And there are some other doors here that can lead into the castle, into the holding grounds there. But yeah, I mean, one other thing that the bad guy can do on its turn, they have a haunter here, and this haunter, see these rows, it goes from 1 to 9. Well, if the Korak player wants to use that haunter, they would roll a d10, and then that haunter would go all the way across this row, basically killing anything that it gets in contact with, monster or hero. If the heroes die, they go back to the beginning and they have to start over. If the heroes die in the arena area, they have to go back to the beginning and they lose an item or something, or a card. And really, that's about all there is to it. The Korak player has a little more to do because they get to manage at least their pool of monsters and place them within the rooms, and they can do so hopefully smartly. It's not that big of a decision really, but there's really nothing else going on in the game. It is pretty simple. Move. The heroes have 3 actions. It's action to move 1 space for 1 bout of combat, so they can do any combination thereof. And yeah, that's it. There's not really a lot to say about Dark World. I think it is much more of a game to look at, and it does. I think the price is climbing a little bit. It has not, garnered the attention or the collector craze like Hero Quest or Dragon Strike or Dragon Quest or the Dungeons and Dragons adventure board game has. So you can still pick this up for not a lot of money. Most of the time I see them and they're not complete. This is missing one of the magic tokens for the magic boots. and I believe it's missing one of the paper hit point trackers on the bottom of one of the monsters, and that's it. So I mean, my copy is pretty complete, and I think it's in really good condition, especially for a game like this, which was probably set up and played with more as a toy than an actual game. And if I had this when I was a kid, that is definitely what I would have done. This would have been used to make like some crazy like homebrew D&D. You know, if my buddy Matt and if we had this when we were in 4th grade playing Redbox D&D, we totally would have been using this to do something with Dungeons and Dragons. But that was quite a few years before this game. I was already in high school when this game came out, so it was not even on my radar. I mean, but look at this. So like these paper walls, they even have these really nice, sturdy plastic clips that clip onto the board and hold everything in place. It's a really well-made game in terms of components. Unfortunately, like I've said, that is about all you get with Dark World. Well, you also get this absolutely amazing box art, which is phenomenally cool. I mean, man, you talk about some awesome sword and sorcery art there. That is absolutely killer. So, all right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed taking this retro look at Dark World, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.